Lion that clever ability, oh, that clever ability, I see what Munaya, ya, Munaya, Munaya, ya, Munaya, Munaya. Confiance. Allez, yo!
You be moy be free, Chiblanca, Jirake, now on Britannia, get the Parado Butchin, Ba Weber what Uncle Faroka Gigi, where that Biramuni no, or Jake, Weber Corona Faroke, or say Penny Unit, or the Baku, Kit on your private bow, what on Cananake, or Jake, Weber Macorona Faroke, the baby you twankemo, the jaw you wawa, bling, son be a yin, can ye coin in pra, or can ye son in planny, name it you a cabe, the Rapamwe. Benje de dier bengerin ke kwa menyu wana ka jenyu ke kwa mo igwo nyu ka be na blike de du yin mo yin benge de to be be o benyu benge wana ke bengo yi blanye bengo mbuche o kinki mo monda benge nyuru mo kwanyi tode soni mo de suike nin mo yin drian kwai boti sembla juke nyi fie bo mu ke na le soni dre kwai nyi dero yi pon ni me dre kwai o kwin mo we sembla ke ti sembla ke me dre kwai boti pra kwin o tani mo monda benge de benyo pra ye bengere mu o nyeniamo ne sonke me ba wen juke nyi ko mu o nyi san ni o munio ka mo monda benge ni mi memero konne o ni no ji meke nje ku o je monda bengo ta o bengo yidu bengo di se paren sa igu de ba ke nyoro o ji fiba blen o ji yo wa be na wo je nyoni ke yi ka tre ni be pa pide mu wura be ni ta to be o wa ko mu monda be ro mo bengo ke bun fwen cha ke juke dero jiji debe panton be mu obre fropa be koni be mu be ko komna nyobe o nyobe be wane penye be ko wa bo chenwura nezuo bamba mi bodu toje botina ka mu pona ka debe so nye omode Ministry of Health program robo ke mu
anye pokra wa na wura wa mu sonati na ji na be amplede de na ji be amplede mo kwete omone ojira kuno ambo kwela o dratu nye pojudu akwarati o patu nye pojudu te o police no o gba wa kuno amu wo onyine mo coronavirus kan ye nu odade ne kwera o se kureko ajira ba obo fon ne ma be o ji mpona ne na kokure ne sho parem ja na fora mu ne sunu ne tine du anti na shanati e ma be na jira be tijira de kuro ba nu ka na woro ne na woro yi mara ne puam no kunya ne kuti ne be plerem de ne ba nu o le shawa nkpon krabro akpo kia kwarati onena brokpo ete akomba repeti po ne o shankpo jisa de mbe nura mo botunyi po yidu kwatutu e ma be mu dere mo ton detenya ne ji ne woto kwe tiwe woto wa kwe wona kwe na bi woto wa wo kare esha be nita semre bi bombo ti troneo e ma be fufonye po yidu ifota troni boti bore fufonyo nyen pape ne e ma be Najira be kukure mo najira be sha ne pokwa wi na sha ta na kukure ndo wure on se tunye po yuduti bubulale nime o mena pru bo nya tuntun mo bo didie ponya kwagbe o ma me ko na gba dero tu de bele mo prosun blekri yo de po e ma be tunye boju o foran shone noja mo moti karembe in o fosation ne wura ka na po piteti yo botunye po yudo boti kwane ebe tene nyingbe no nyatina buenunu ne emabe je nyingbe ore oshao tane anera oshao kon ke owurara oti ne aprere anye fo pore iniane tane anera ne bioti jira de kote owurara tiyo ne pusere na pam to wacho na ba ti ko bam no kunya pokretien kri se tipo sara e de tamwa Ministry of Health emwa kenwa anya piasra.
Welcome ambla kaunga twai. Ulau kpangang ageku para kapo kumuka. Yi lono iplana crofry yi nyabo apanwe ngabo dakama coronavirus. Coronavirus anu pai ngine kwa tamama. Coronavirus ka crofry yi nyabo anu so kwa mlimitama. Ega
Okay, well, folks, we want to welcome you. Let's start the program. Good evening, whatever you are. A beautiful day, but it was really, really brutal here from the East Coast. We want to welcome you to this program. Today here, let's see whether we can find solution to talk to our government, to communicate with our leaders. The major equality forum gets underway today at Liberia Public Radio. It's such an amazing forum. I listen to a lot of great speakers, world leaders, advocates, and they were hitting right on the point. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners. Thank you for sharing your evening. Ambassador, my man Shep, Samuel Havermore, and all of you good folks here. We want to welcome you. This is where we discuss issues of national concerns in a proportional fashion, keeping it balanced, objective as possibly we can. What we do not do is to play into your corridor in terms of what you intend or what you want to hear. So for the most part, it's disappointing both people who support the government and the opposition. But what we intend to do and what we will be doing here at LPR is to take on national issues. And I give you a discussion, give it a fair shot. Well-man team of contributors, they are already here, assembled. We're going to be, we'll try the best we can to also make you to form part of today's talking point, because it's getting over the roof. This is the latest, 1,458. This is unprecedented. And it should be a concern to every Liberian, whether you fall, you against, you're on the edge, you're sitting on top of the roof. This should be a concern to all of us. And we must be able to create a conversation that is genuine, that is authentic, and that perhaps will resonate and make our government, our state actors, and people to understand. Because in the absence of a citizenry, they can lead. So let me go to Atlanta, Georgia, where LPR senior contributor and analyst Amos George is standing by. Amos George is here. Mr. George, good evening and welcome. Thank you for signing up for such a pro bono work. I know people like Jeffrey Tubans and all of those people that get paid on CNN, but you chose to come and do something for the good of the community. And also from our own man here, senior contributor and analyst in Asia this early morning hour. He's here. Mr. George Wider is here. Gentlemen, good evening, good morning. Welcome to this talking point. Let me just start here with the conversation and to our many listeners and followers. Pa George, how was your evening? It was brutal in the East Coast here today. It was brutal.
We just got, the sun was very hot here, but the we just got some the shower here and there.
Hey man, is there a way you can transfer some here to us on the side here, especially in my state? I don't know if it's possible. That miracle can take place?
No, that can't happen.
Okay.
That's nature.
All right, I understand. Okay, so and we have to keep drinking and drinking and drinking until my belly said, "Nah, I don't even have the space to eat." But I don't know, because I kept drinking just not to be how you call it. Okay, Widot, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. So and Mr. George. good morning from my end. I'm on a quarantine, so it's just eat and sleep, or eat and sleep, as you would say.
You said
um,
just to eat and sleep.
yeah, so
What
yeah, eat and
you say
sleep.
you're
So
on
I'm home,
quarantine?
and
Yeah,
we are in
there's a complete
quarantine this
lockdown.
city.
Oh yeah.
We've been since Sunday we've been on a lockdown. So
Okay, and it seems to coincide with the talking point here today. I have a different versions, a different side, and I want us to talk to our government and our listeners as well with respect to the Ministry of Health and Social Welfare. According to one of the major news outlets, the New Dawn newspaper, Minister Jala is saying it is not yet time. It is not yet time for lockdown. Now, it is important that we have this kind of conversation. I don't know when is the ideal time, considering this escalated and this surge of this variant, Delta variant in the country. People are dying. I don't know what are all of the statistics coming forth from outside of Monrovia, because Liberia, from time in history, is not noted for decentralizing activity. So as the result, our lifespan is right in Monrovia. As long as it's okay in Monrovia, nobody get a heck of what's going on in the other country. And that's the narrative, that's the talking point we need to change. But in the meanwhile, the forum gets on the way today, the opening forum. The Forbes Foundation contributing over $4 billion to Women's Initiative. There's a lady that spoke from Somalia. In fact, Liberia Public Radio, we were able to do that relay. As a matter of fact, anybody can to register, but unfortunately, some people at last minute time to registration now is closed. It's closed now, so there's no way that you can register. They have about 500 panelists, but 90 events. You can talk to people if you have any questions. It is quite amazing. And I saw the full foundation coming up with that sort of money for over $400 billion to the work of the women initiative is quite amazing. And let's see here, the eternal race. Yeah, we're going to go through that. Okay, but Mr. George and Wido, let's come to this here. Okay, I understand the president is the chief executive, but the government itself, it constitutes different branches and people are brought in government to also help national government, to also help the executive, which has the authority to execute. Now, I'm hearing the Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Republic of Liberia, considering the sort of enormous surge of this virus, is saying is not yet time. What sort of I'm speaking from a layman context. I do not have the medical background to make enough argument here, but considering what is happening now, how can the ministry say can the health authorities say and if it is so, what are the measures being constituted, put in place to diminish this sort of surge that we are saying? Pa George, do you agree with the minister?
No, complete nonsense.
Hmm.
I'm not a medical doctor.
Somebody come here and says, is it the only person I love as a contributor is that man? I don't think he has a party. I said, well, I can't put my lifeline on the board to say Pa Joy does not have a party. But he said, you know why? He's a complete shooter. When the opposition does it wrong, he blasts it. He's not like the liberal who is unstable. One day he's on the other side, another day he's baby crying here. That's it. Go ahead. Nonsense. How? Explain.
No, sir, I'm not a medical doctor. But from every indication around the world, and people in Liberia, they are all worried. The CDC, based in Atlanta, Georgia, have issued level 4 warning for Liberia. That is something to make everybody afraid. Level 4.
Yeah, that's scary.
And then the Ministry of Health in Liberia saying that it's not yet time. When would be the time? Yesterday, I called somebody, my source from the airport, said now they have brought in this 20-minute test.
Yes, I managed to get that video.
Yes.
I forgot to download it.
But then, yes, the problem, the source told me, they do the test, take the sample, do the test upstairs, and then they send the people downstairs.
A little bit. It's a worth giving a little bit clap. That was a spontaneous action by the government, or we shouldn't.
So This is completely bogus nonsense.
Oh my goodness.
These people knew. Why did they make preparation earlier? Where they got this one from that they don't got the mail from the tax. You allow all the Indians, Bangladesh to float into that country, and now you say you bring them to do tests. And when I said it's just a waste of time, yes, the thing. My source told me when they do that, when they take the specimen, then they will tell the people to come downstairs. And when they come downstairs, they are all like sardine. Nowhere, no space. Everybody just rubbing against one another, waiting for the result. So then, what is the purpose of that test? What benefit will do for the people? When you cannot separate the people 6 feet. This person comments, because this person worked there. And they say, look, we are judging at the mustard because the crowd that comes downstairs waiting for the result, it just starts everybody rubbing against one another. So then what happened there? If someone is being identified,
is it fair to say they are going through settlements, settling down, and try to get things? I'm not defending the actions of the government, but at least we're seeing something a little bit. The baby is crying now, and I agree with you. It's just inexcusable. These people, they knew exactly what was coming. So it's like putting fire on turtle bag. Okay, let's welcome the professor. Professor Asese Labozalo is a senior contributor and analyst of the Liberia Public Radio and founders of 2 polytechnic schools in Liberia, is here as well. Some of you are bringing professor, and you're going to carry on. So, Pa George, there's some sort of action proactive measure. Is a little bit late. Yes, I agree. But something, somehow, someplace, because of somebody or some sort of executive carelessness, their inability to get ahead of the game, got us here. So is it fair to say, okay, let's see how this process will be expedited?
But the process is not even being expedited because the people do the test, they come, you put everybody in one place again like sardine. What's the benefit? How long will it take these people to learn from other people? You say, okay, you take the first samples, fine. But then you go and put them in one room, they all like sardine, waiting for the result.
Okay, so let's see.
If that's the case, why they cannot build some tanks outside, around the airport, and say, well, you go take your boy and sit down over, then the result come. Do the 6 feet. But you got everybody.
George, I disagree with you with what you're saying.
Judge Widow, hold on. Mr. Widow, hold on. I know
your blood is boiling.
There you go.
But you can't help yourself. You can't help your government.
That's a
reality.
No.
Okay.
But that's a reality. You can disagree. It is your right. But it is my right to speak. Because the government carelessness, incompetent to handle the situation from the beginning. They knew this thing was coming. They did not put no measure in place after being hit by the first, the second wave. No. But we're collecting $50 and $5 from people, not taking into account the effect of that virus. They're allowing all these people from India and Bangladesh to flow into Liberia.
Okay, let's hold on there a little bit here. Let's give it a proportional conversation here. And I agree. Every Liberians are going to vent their anger, disappointment, disagreement, reservation, whatever you think is possibly can be. Because everybody have the right to talk about their country, how they feel if the country is not treating them right. But let's see. But let's listen to both sides here. Professor, I saw you because we don't jump in the middle. I disagree. So I want to stabilize a conversation here. I don't want him to come firing with some sort of air to ground Misa political talk here. So let me bring in the neutralizer here, Professor Asese Labozawa. I got that video. I for some reason I don't know why I didn't download what Pa Joyce was making to reference to. There was some other equipments brought in to help to expedite the process. Should we say, okay, yeah, you should have done this long ahead of time, but the baby is gradually crying. And but we can still vent our anger because we want more to be done. But my focus here tonight, Professor, I find it difficult to agree with the Minister of Health, who should also give an advice, who should provide counsel to the government, the president. She's saying it's not yet time for lockdown. And here we are. This thing is going over the roof. What's your thought?
Yeah, I don't know whether you can question. I mean, the minister obviously has more information than you and I have. And she will use the information she has to make the determination of when to advise the president to put the country on lockdown. I tell you another thing: lockdown in Liberia is almost impractical. There's a lot of challenge. I think it's more of a faith-saving measure than an effective means in this situation. Look, how do you shut down a country when the people have to go to the market every day to buy their food? A lot of people don't have refrigerators. They can't store their food for a day or two. They will have to converge at the market. Because they have to go to the marketers will be there, to sell. You have overcrowdedness over there. So all those things are there. But just one of the things I wanted to say, look, I agree with Mr. George. And again, so Mr. George, you got one supporter here.
Thank you.
The performance of our health system in this situation has been dismal. And I think they will do something good for Liberian people. They will all step aside. The president needs to form a new health team. He needs to form a new health team. He needs to look outside and bring it.
What a minute here, Professor. Here, it seems that the gloves is getting off here. I didn't see this coming here. Let's see whether we can replay this cast. The president needs to do what?
The president needs to dissolve his health team. That is, the Minister of Health needs to step aside. The NFIL director needs to step aside. The emergency management team needs to step aside.
Don't speak in a tone of being a diplomat. Dissolve. Are you talking about firing, dismissing? So what are you saying specifically?
Maybe not dismiss. Maybe you could set them aside and bring in a new team of people to come and save our country.
Why?
And then because they're not performing. Look, let me tell you something. We've knew this was going to come, right? It was just a matter of time.
Wow.
As a person of science, you prepare for war in times of peace. I don't understand having been hit by Ebola, having been hit by the first wave. I don't understand why Liberia does not have an infections control center that can be put into motion as soon as these occurrences, begin to fester. I don't understand why. I don't understand why we don't have it. Maybe the 14th military hospitals could be refashioned into a treatment facility for that purpose. But we really need to have a place for these infectious diseases. We are seeing now that the outbreak of these infectious diseases is now a matter of when. It's now, what is going to happen. So we just prepare for it. And I don't think we'll be adequately prepared.
Be a different side of Professor Zablo here this evening. I didn't see this coming at all. To align with Amos George, with a very extreme voice for the government that you support.
But that's why I support President Weah. I want him to succeed. These people are disappointing President Weah. They are performing dismally, and they need to step aside. Look, let me tell you something. I love President Weah.
Who has the authority to make people to step aside?
The president. The president must act.
So why is he not acting?
I don't know, but we encourage him to act. That's why some of us are speaking out now. We are sending our voices to him. He needs to act. He needs to have the people step aside. Look, let me tell you something. When the first wave, and I'll go on record, anybody can come after me. When the first wave started, when we had the first incident of coronavirus, I proposed to the top levels of government the change in the way we were handling the entry into the country. I call for roving. That means you move them.
Right.
Points along the Rowersfield Highway, because I did not trust the airport. The airport authority need to step aside. Also.
Are you providing consultancy for this government?
No, I'm not. But I did make those recommendations. The airport authority needs to step aside also. The airport authority performance has been dismal. I've sat at that airport and I've seen people go through immigration to leave the country, board a flight, and then they come. There's a special car. There's a car that comes down there, pick them up, and get them to an undisclosed location on the airport. They do not board the plane, even though they have boarding passes to board the very flight I was on. And I raised a concern about that. Why is it these people with boarding pass? Why did they not enter this flight? Why did they get in the car, a vehicle, and drive on the other end? I'm concerned with my security. And I told them, you guys keep making this kind of mistake. You're going to sell this country for little dollars. And it's wrong. So look, we need to change the people at the airport. We need to ask people within the president of health management team to step aside. We need to bring a new team of people. We need to bring in the professionals. We need to go back to some of the people who performed in the past. We need to tap into the expertise of Liberians. Look, I can identify
From the tap in the expertise, let me just get it right. From the broader spectrums, or we go into the CDC corridor?
This is not CDC. This is Liberia.
Okay.
This is Liberia. We need to kick this thing out of our country. It has a propensity to decimate our population. And look, we've lost some very prominent people.
Yes.
Everyone we lost is going to be important. Theo Joseph, a very important person in the accounting arena, a man who has, trained and elevated a whole lot of accountants across the country. I lost a friend of mine, Jaffa Showo. I think he was vice president for Continental University College. Look, we don't have tons of professionals.
As a result of the COVID, correct?
That's what some people are saying. I don't have the details. But we don't have tons of professionals. We don't want this thing to be like Ebola, where we've lost so many competent people.
Okay.
This is not about CDC. It's about our people, survival of our civilization.
Right. Well, you set the bar so high here. George Widow, I'm not sure. Do you have 2 eggs or not?
No.
no. Actually, I'm listening.
Are you stung of what? Are you stung of Professor Zavlot argument here this evening?
I will completely differ from the professor, and here's why.
Why you? Wait a minute. You were completely. So it seems to me
right.
in total disagreement. I know. Don't form a coalition with him, which is obvious. And you want to form
the good thing is that we can all disagree to agree. You know, one of the things I want to state before I start is that, look, I got all my entire family. They're in Liberia. I'm the only one from my immediate family that ever traveled. My father, my mother, they are right in Monrovia. My brothers, they are all in Liberia. We are almost 12. So I am not here to sugarcoat anything when something is not going right. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to speak from the point of experience, the point of knowledge, and the point of a little bit of background on this subject. Here's what I'm going to say. The first thing I want to address,
a little bit of partisan involved.
No, not at all. I'm going to speak for Liberia here. The first thing I want to address is that the issue with what Pat George has said, that the people go and get cramped up downstairs awaiting their results. The first question is that we need to ponder before we go to address that issue. Where did they come from? They came from a tube or plane that is like a tube, that the air circulation is just everyone's breathing the same air in the plane. That's where they came from. When they were getting in line, when they are leaving the plane, I've flown many times that I drove. I know when you're coming from the plane, nobody has, social distancing when you're getting from the plane. These people, they walk side by side, come from out of the plane, go through all these things, and you want because they are tested, so they should be separated now. I don't think so. Yes, what I think needs to be done. Yes, what I think needs to be done. I think if the rapid test should only be done for those who are entering the country, the same under 72 hours test should still be done for people who are leaving the country. That means before you leave the country, you first, if you know, because you cannot buy a plane ticket and you don't know when you are going. You will know when you are going, go and do your test early, get the results, and then you can go with your test result and board the plane. The rapid test, as scarce as it is, should only be used for people who are coming to the country. That means you test them right there, they get a result. If they are positive, you put them on the bus, they are going to Starbase. So here's what's going to happen. When these people are cramped up together in that place, when one person gets tested and they are positive, what should be done is every one of them should be put on a bus and be taken to a destination, whether it's at 14 Military Hospital or Starbase, where they'll be quarantined for 14 days before they can go to their destination. There's no if about, because you cannot tell them that they should build 10, that one person should take a 10 after they are tested to get a result. I think no. And then for my professor, talking about firing or setting aside, the current leadership, the emergency management team, I disagree, because look, I think most of the time we find out that people who get into positions as such, these people learn on the job, and they go something they call lesson learned. They get debriefing. Look, what did we get? What did we go wrong? How can we change it? These are the things that happen. You cannot say because the person made a mistake, the person should be fired. I don't think there's any mistake here, especially a pandemic. This is something that you never see coming. It came without anyone knowing that was coming. Even no one knew about third wave coming. Even the West, we did not know. Look, people die in America where we have all of the medical facility. People died in America more than even Africa with all the medical and the sophistication. These people died like ants. Here in Australia, we have this system where they've stopped people from coming from other countries, but still people died here in Australia. And we should not sit here and say because they allow the virus to enter the country, so they should be fired. I don't think so. I don't think changing personnel is the right thing. That's the same thing we are talking, even politically. People are saying, oh, change the president, and you think the problem is solved. No, it's not solved. People need to learn. Our people need to know that this virus is real, and it's very contagious, and it's going to kill people. They should do the necessary things, the protocols that are laid out in the protocol list of things. They should do them and make sure that they keep themselves safe and sound. I think that's the only way we're going to do this thing. Everyone has to come on the table, ready to work and help themselves, help this government to achieve what is needed to be achieved. But changing personnel or purchasing is nonsense. I don't think there's any nonsense here. The government is doing exactly what can be done in these particular circumstances. And I think I speak for everyone. I'm not here to, I don't know the health minister. I don't know at all. I don't even know those who work there. None of my relatives ever work for any government. I don't even intend to work for any government.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, so what I'm trying to say is practical.
Yeah, Pa George will respond. You have your mom, you have your dad, you have all of your relatives there. So
all of them.
That's your life wire. And I too, the same way, and all of us, and even down to our viewers. But I don't see what was the earlier side the professor mentioned about here. Do you want to buy into the idea that the health ministry or the health authority, the NFILs and all these people, they didn't see, they were not monitoring what was happening from Asia and in part that potentially this thing, considering the traffic that was going into Liberia, they didn't see it coming? Is it a surprise? Is that a kind of backing you want to give your widow?
Look, when thousands and thousands of people were dying in America, Liberia was spared that wave. You know that, right?
So
it's not because we're so sophisticated. That's why we're spared. We're spared because this government, these same people, took necessary measures to make sure that this was curtailed. And let me tell you something. They said there was a lockdown in Liberia. No, but here's the thing.
This is my first time.
Are we trying to say? Yeah, are we trying to say that it's because of God that the thousands of people that die in America did not die in Liberia? Is that a miracle?
You know why? You know what happened?
No. Let me finish. Professor, you're coming. I don't think it was a miracle. I think the government acted appropriately. That's why the first wave that killed people, even here in Australia and in America, that's why it did not happen in Liberia. Precautions were taken. However, when we talk about lockdown or lock-in or quarantine, I think it's not practical in Liberia.
Is that precaution still in place? Hold on. So is that precaution still in place today? Because I want to have Pa George and the professor to respond. The professor, you claim that precautions were taken. That's why it didn't turn to be worse as it is right now. So I'm asking, is that precaution still in place?
Look, I don't think so, but I think they are putting it in place again.
So what happened?
Look, we're all relaxing now, thinking that this thing is going and it's not going to come. We're all trying to relax. Even in Monrovia, I'm not living there, but people were going about their normal businesses until the third wave came in. So the third wave came it made us all unaware. We didn't know it was going to come.
You have this sort of argument here, and I know you support the government. Nothing wrong with that. We all should support the government to succeed. We will have our own political differences, but this tone here tonight, I'm not sure how well they're going to resonate with people. I will bring the professor in. Emmons George.
Mr. So you see, some of these people who support government, they are fanatic, so they don't see nothing wrong. They don't call anything out. They find a way to share, to give the pass. But let me tell my brother Weeder, my son Weeder. Sorry, man. Let me tell you something. In America, the expert was saying there will be another wave. I think Professor Zhao can bear me, Mr. So can bear me.
Fauci, he
yes,
won.
they were saying there will be another wave coming this summer. Then, first, it was the South African variant. It came up. They start stressing about that. Then, the Delta variant from India. And the Indian one, it was what they were stressing most, that is more deadly. So, people in Liberia, the health expert there, should have been monitoring what is going around the world. People that have the expertise, who giving you something, trying to project that something will happen. That when they should have start making preparation. But you see, oh no, nobody expected it. It was all on the cable news. And people, when they news 24 hours, they got newsletter, they doctors, they go online, they access all the information. That's a poor excuse giving. Oh, we don't, but it is your right. Secondly, the health minister, we saw the first wave, second wave. Okay, give it to you. The main preparation during the first wave, according to you, I don't know about that. Why didn't keep that measure in place? Say, look, this is our plan. If anything can, this is what we're going to go by, because it was this thing that we used during the first wave. We're going to put the measure in place. That was not done by then. They sat down surprisingly, only focusing how to get money from the citizenry. This is why they concentrate on collecting fees, not putting in them. I always say this. I do not want to blame.
And all of these monies they were collecting, there was no specific, they didn't even make a recommendation. I'm not sure what they did to the president, because they're also wondering, hey, we are doing this in order to replenish, to fill in the gap of something here. But let me bring in.
And I always say this. There are some things I do not want to blame the job we are led government for. It has been an old age problem. Most of the point in Liberia has been an old age problem. But what I always say, the little resources you got now, try to utilize it to help your people. We cannot continue to refer to the past. And let me say this. You know why the Minister of Health cannot talk about lockdown? Because the first lockdown, the 25 million that I was given to them, they cannot account for it. Now, how can you go back even if that was utilized properly? I'm telling you, I know Liberians. They will say, yeah, you know, I will cooperate with the government. But that money was squandered by them. And how now the health minister can go back to tell the president, or the government can tell the people, you'll go lockdown now.
Okay.
See what will happen, you see the people reaction.
Okay, Professor, let me just bring you in here a little bit here, and it's a conversation. And we respect the views and opinions of my Mr. Wida, but what does it speak to? Because and I like your tone here tonight, and even before, don't get me wrong, you always speak your truth to the.
I wouldn't like your tone when you're against the government.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I like your tone, because what happens if you even like something, you don't want it to go in error. And so sometimes you have to be forceful, but it must be done with respect, and that's what he has said. So we have people embedded, or people the president brought around him with the hope of helping the president. And what he's saying, apparently some of these people, they are not on top of the game. And at the end of the day, we gave the president a smash down, because people who are supposed to act, they are not acting, and it is within his purview to take actions on those people. So what did Mr. Wida don't understand with what we are talking here? Is it that somebody is saying anything here that they are against the government, or what?
No, I don't think Mr. Wida is not understanding. Mr. Wida has a perspective which I respect. You know, we always disagree, and we always see things, differently from time to time. Look, let me be very clear. Let me first of all disavow the thought that there was any mismanagement of any funds allocated for the COVID-19 fight. I have no information about those abuses.
Winston Tabak cannot make report.
Yeah, I understand what you are saying. I understand there was a hearing. I understand there are people who believe that Mr. Tapek could not, answer the questions the way they wanted it.
But all the money was given to WFP. Winston Tapek did not spend the money himself. All the money was transferred to them. Why were you holding government?
Hello.
I'm not going to make any statement, speculation or accusation. But here's what I will tell you. I'll be very honest with you. The handling of the COVID-19 fight has been poor. Look, I think 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think they started to put markings on home that was supposed to be receiving food that they should have received during the heat of COVID-19, the first wave. They are now beginning to mark homes to start distribution. First of all, I don't think that distribution is necessary anymore, except now that we have a third wave, and then we can start putting it there to keep people, to help people. It's belated.
Are they making up something that they should have done before? Is that how you
They should
view
have
it?
done it a long time. You don't. I mean, the reason for those things was so that people, when they are locked down, they can have
Right,
food.
they will have something to they will even be able to stay home. You
Right.
can't be hungry. You tell me you go sit down in the house in the heat.
It's 1 year late.
Break.
It's approximately 1 year late. And if you perform 1 year after the time you're supposed to perform, you are incompetent, you need to step aside. So I'll be practical with you. The Ministry of Education, I think about 2 or 3 months ago, distributed the COVID-19 kits for schools that should have been distributed when we started school in November of 2020. That's poor performance. Anyone,
But they are available.
They made it available.
Were the kits available?
Were they available? They should have made them available because it was intended. Listen, now,
And that's
intended to
There was
prepare
no COVID thing
Hold on, guys.
until 2020. So no
hold
one
on.
made COVID kit anywhere. These
Hold
things
on.
are being created as we go.
Hello.
No. Let me tell you something here. Look,
Let
that's
you
what
finish
we're
your
incompetence in government. Those things can be produced right there locally. And you know what you could do? You could strengthen your economy. You could empower more people by using local methods for producing those things on a fast track basis. You talk about the what they call in the United States, the Defense Act, where you convert production to building.
Right.
Look, we could do some sort of those things in Liberia, even though it wasn't necessary. We could have 1 or 2 persons coming together. And look, let me be very honest with you. I have 4 or 5 different individuals or companies in the United States who approached me, and they would have delivered those things in a couple of weeks to Liberia.
So
Let me finish. So you see, look, it's not that we don't like these people. The first thing, first of all, appointing a medical doctor as a minister of health is problematic. Health structures, health systems are so,
that's an administrative position, correct?
Yeah, it's an administrative position to manage the healthcare system of the country. So the woman comes to the job with all the skill, the expertise to perform in the first place. Now, if you watch them, if you have watched the first wave, if you have watched the press conferences they had, you would have bent your head down for Liberia. It was terrible. So look, this is not about not liking anybody. This is about saving our generation or our civilization called Liberia. Look, we had an Ebola. We had the first wave. Look, if we're not careful, if we keep putting incompetent people in position, these people will lead to the damaging and destruction of that entire civilization we call Liberia. These people got to step aside. This is not about President. President Weah is doing his best, but he needs to now take his best to the human resources aspect, to the personnel aspect. Replace those personnel who are not performing with competent people. Look, I can find 5 Liberians who will go to Liberia, and you give them a couple of months or a couple of weeks, they'll kick that thing out of the country.
So, okay, I will be compelled to say this, and this is something that
Like they
usually
kick it out of America.
you don't like me to say it, but I will say it because on numerous occasions, not just even before becoming a contributor on this network, I believe you appeared on Liberia Public Radio, major international cable wired, the BBC and other major great news outlet, and you have been speaking for this government. I don't understand. Do they listen to you?
Yeah.
no.
Well, the reason, we come here and people who don't know you, who have never interacted with you, they bash you. This is not in fact, what kind of professor is it? But it's also people icon out of ignorance that they don't know. But what I'm saying, the authenticity, the commitment, and the kind of tone, the language you try to send to this government. You supported this government here, the diaspora seditions. You are one of those in the vanguard here. And yeah, you guys are, and you say you don't need to go, and that's what I don't like to hear. Yeah, you're telling us here this evening that people approach you, and my guess, you communicated this with the government, correct? Let's get that right.
Well, look, whatever information we have, we do forward those information.
Professor Zalo, whatever information we get,
we are obligated to doing whatever is necessary if we believe the information is,
Oh my
is
goodness.
important. If we believe the information,
Professor Zauro.
we communicate those information. Look, let me tell you something. I would tell you this. Look, this is not about, I have all these ideas.
I don't see.
All these
Is the question meant to throw the government under the bus?
No, look, the government, President Weah is doing a fabulous
So
job.
why are you not answering my question? After you were approached by those institutions, do you, Professor Ase say Lagbo Zauro, do you communicate this with the national government about these?
I have conversations with a lot of people, the content of which and with whom I have those conversations have to be private to continue to maintain that respect that the government, people in the government have for me. Look, I have an excellent relationship with almost every government official. And
having an excellent relationship and accepting and taking in some of your proposals and suggestions, that's another.
They don't have to take my proposal. These guys, they don't have to necessarily take my proposal.
They don't believe in you or trust you?
How am I going to know that they don't believe in me or trust me? But I think they do.
People actually just trying to make an educated guess here, because I'm saying this because there's some sort of level of frustration here. There's some sort of frustration here. You step forward to save the educational life. You left from here, you went at your own volition to train teachers, and we saw the result of the Wired. So can they see the potential that in you?
Do you know what they're not seeing the potential? But let's not make this thing about me. Look, let's talk about
it's about the country, because if you have the ability to give back and people are not willing, if they are not listening to you, if they are not willing to accommodate you, what is the guarantee that somebody who does not, or for any reason is from a different side of the political spectrum, such a person will be accommodated? Well, if they can't take one of their own. Do you see what I'm coming from?
No, I don't. I don't see when you say they don't believe in one of their own, because I think my voice is one voice that many people in the government respect. And I think, look, sometimes, like I said, I've been very clear about the fact that in this situation, those responsible for this COVID-19 has failed. I said that clearly. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They failed. But you see, when you have information, you share the information, it's not necessary that the person who you give that information is the one who will implement it. It requires a whole host of people and forces that have it has to be a confluence of all those forces and factors to bring into fruition whatever suggestions, whatever ideas you have. Now, in the process of bringing all those things together, sometimes things get to be ignored, things get forgotten, and stuff like that. Things happen, but we'll continue to do what we do. We'll continue to support this government, because I tell you one thing, in the previous government, when we had the Ebola crisis, we did the same thing. We communicated. The interesting thing was, unlike that time,
you are struggling, Professor. You are struggling, and carefully putting your words together. Not to whatever. I don't know why you don't want to, why you came out here to very strong, but now you are putting on the confidence and the government of the Sakomo tree right now.
No, it's not. Look, let me tell you something. Look, my first obligation is to the people of Liberia. Okay, and you see how I demonstrate that. I demonstrate that by whenever I see a problem, I step in to resolve the problems. I don't depend on government or any kind of international force to go and do it.
Before I let this protocol, you came out here forcefully to say the management team they need to go. What happens if the executive does not take any action? And I agree with you, because I said that there was some sort of, from the initial onset, there was a misplacement. And that's what other people don't get when you try to talk it. And they just think, there's no Indian citizen that would not support their government. Because what happened, listen, see, right now, if there's any issue in Liberia that financially we are strangulated here. Even the lockdown, what we are talking about, when family members, friends, siblings, they start calling, send food, we have to do it, because it's part of our culture. It's part of us extending, giving this sort of helping hand here. So when things are better in Liberia, the better it's going to be for us here as well. Let me bring in Widow here. But before that, I was just asking a question. At the end of this whole thing here, if the president, for whatever reason, it is within his purview, if he has no any administrative changes within the health paradigm, would that be a disappointment to you?
Well, it will be a disappointment to me because it will keep the hopes of people dangling. This team cannot perform. This team cannot deliver. This present health team cannot deliver. It's incompetent, and they need to step aside. I think the people should be very honest with the president. I think they should be grateful to the president. He's giving them the opportunity to serve. They have not been able to serve. They need to step aside and let a new group of people come in. Look, Mr. Wheeler said something here. He said that people learn the job. Look, you don't learn on a job. It's about life and death. I can learn as a teacher. I can learn on the job.
You what? Wheeler, are you prepared to take a mechanic to perform a heart surgery on you?
Yeah, you can learn on a
No,
health.
that's not the context. That's not the context.
Yeah.
And I want to state this for the record.
To perform surgery on him.
Okay, go ahead, Wheeler.
No, yeah, is the thing. When I say lesson learned as a professional person, when I go to work, when we were studying engineering, we say the mistake of a doctor is put on the ground. The mistake of an engineer is there to see. That means if you construct a building and the building is leaning one side, everyone that passes by will see the building. Oh, who built this house? But when a doctor makes mistake, they put it on the ground. They bury the dead, right? So we're not going to say people don't learn on the job. There are lessons learned. Why you think there's debriefing when you do this? Okay, where did we go wrong? Those are learning curves. You have to go through them. I'm not saying you should take a capital to go and tell you to go lay block. No, that's not what I'm saying. But even as a professional, even as a teacher, you still make mistakes. You still have learning movement. You know.
Right.
So
I love the word
I'm not
that
going to agree. Yeah.
I love the word that you use here. The word you declare deep breathing. Deep breathing occurs after an incident to see where you find your fault and see whether you can. Do you think that deep breathing took place?
Yes, I think it took place. Let me tell you why.
Was that recommendation?
When the first wave came, we locked people down in Liberia, right? And we were finding it very difficult to even police the lockdown. When we say, I think 4 people come outside sometime, these same people were crying so that the time the virus can be living, also that in the night the virus can wake up, it can be sleeping in the day. You also want to go outside in the day, want to go outside the town. These are the same people that were complaining about these things. So the government, I assume, the health practitioners sat and said, look, how can we do this better next time when it comes? We will not rush into locking people down because it might take longer and people will stay indoors long, and even that stress will kill people than the virus itself. So how do we do this thing better next time? We will not rush into locking people down. I think that's the decision they took. That's what I'm assuming, because what I see now, because I feel that there should be lockdown, right? But they are not locking people down. Then I switched my brain on a little bit. I said, why you think these people lock people down the first time and they are not locking people down now? Let me say, okay, there must have been some debriefing and say, okay, we lock people down early. Even the money that we gave to WFP to distribute, WFP did not do it efficiently, as we can see, because now they are still distributing, I assume. So how can we do it better? We will not lock people down. However, we put some rules in place that people should abide by, and we might bring police in to police them to make sure that people abide by the rules. And because they abide by the rules, the effect of the virus will not be as bad as it is in other places. Look, we are only 5 million people. How can we just manage ourselves when people are told to follow a little bit of a rule? They don't want to do it. They say, oh, these people, they want to steal money. People in Liberia are still in denial. They say the virus does not exist. So these are the things we need to be looking at.
You're always going to have this sort of a divided house with people here. So don't even.
But you know why the people you're talking about, people don't believe the virus and things? This is a different variant. Your government, the Ministry of Health, around the world, people are saying 6 feet. Your government said 3 feet. That's a different aspect in Liberia. With Nigeria.
You know what is that 3 feet?
Tell me.
You know what is that 3 feet?
No.
the 33 feet because, you know, after the CDC in the USA, after they have basically almost kicked the coronavirus out of the US, the CDC began to relax the restriction. So they're switching it from 6 to 3. So they just automatically to 3. Look, let me tell Mr. Wheeler something. Do you know that what was it? I think this same team was on the air one time and discussing the first wave. And I think what were they telling people to do? To use drive-through for their medication and all kinds of stuff. Where's the pharmacy with drive-through in Liberia? Look, incompetence is incompetent.
Wait a minute, is that why you said that? What is that? Because you use
they were advising to use drive-through to get their medication. When they are sick, they don't go directly into the clinic. They should, you know, use drive-through options and other things like that. Look, so incompetence is incompetence. The people are not thinking. And, you know, and let's face the reality. You know, this is not. You know, this is not about liking the government or not liking the government. You got to perform.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, you got to perform. And you see, when you say it, you cannot learn. Look, there are certain jobs, and I always tell my students when I'm teaching mathematics, I tell my students I'm not interested in the answer, right? Because it is not a rocket science. If you miss it by a little bit, few millimeters, you can blow the whole rocket off. All right.
Right.
Now, so certain areas, certain things you do does not require a certain level of precision and accuracy in doing it. When it comes to health and medicine, there's no room for learning. Absolutely no room for learning. But you also talk about lessons learned. What were the lessons learned from wave one, the first wave? How were those lessons communicated to the people? How did those lessons learned inform the health management team in the ways to prevent the Delta variant from entering the country? How did they put those information together? The bottom line is that there was no lesson learned. There was no debriefing done. There was no protocol put in place to prevent it from happening. And the other thing you talk about lockdown is a joke in Liberia. It's just a joke. The people will go to the market. They will remain in droves because that's the only way they're going to eat their food. That's it. It's finished, blank. So the way you do it is that, look, there are several things that have to happen here. All of these things happen for a reason. One of the simplest things I told Liberian people as this government was coming in, for example, Monrovia is overcrowded. We've got to find a way to get people out of Monrovia. We have to create centers of opportunity outside of Monrovia. That's something we've got to take seriously. Two, is it necessary for everybody in Monrovia to go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning?
That's a lazy country, Professor. That's why I always say, a far country where everybody sleeps at night, it's a lazy country will not develop.
We can do several things. There are several things we can do in the country that will help us in dealing with these kind of things. Now, right now, they are restricting the number of passengers in the vehicle. Now, if we change the way if the government develop a new human resources structure. So, for example, the janitors don't have to go to work at the same time the accountant is going to work because, you know, the time you might. So when we do all of those things, this natural way of spacing people, this think about spacing people will happen just
nice, right,
continuously, and then we'll be taking the small steps to fight against this virus.
So what I try to sense from you here, Professor, even though they were using the word insensual, so nothing like insensual in itself, it was everybody were going. It was not an insensual. People who are no business going, they were still going.
When the people didn't go to work, or the people who just decided to be lazy and not go to work.
Yes.
There were no clearly defined.
I disagree because what I've done is that I've gone through the protocol, the list of things that they want people to follow. I think even now, funeral cannot be attended by more than 20%. Nightclubs cannot have more than 20 people. They have closed even some places down in Monrovia who have violated that rule.
So
these are the problem we have. These are the problem we have because you are here. I'm communicating to you, Pa George. I'm communicating to you the rules that have been put in place. You still don't want to follow it. You say it's nothing. You see, that's the problem we have because even when government institutes something, you don't want to abide by it because you think it's nonsense. And every time we say nonsense, people are dying because they don't follow common rules. That's the problem. I am telling you now that they are saying in non-essential staff should stay home. 50% of the people should go to work. Yeah, 50% of the people should go to work. That's what the rule is. People are still violating to the point that 2 businesses were closed in Monrovia yesterday. just because they failed to follow the instruction of the protocol put in place. But you are here saying that they didn't put anything in place. How will you say they didn't put anything in place when they are closing businesses down that are not abiding by the rules? But you are here and saying it's nonsense. And you
I would
get,
think,
because you are influential, you are saying it's nonsense. People in Monrovia will not follow the rule the government say because you are saying it's nonsense. And that's the
look,
problem we
this is
have.
what I'll tell you.
I'm
No,
not
no,
saying they should
no,
not
no, 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 no. You got it. No,
government job is
Look,
anyone's property.
Okay,
It should be changed.
hold on now. Let them let's have a talking point.
we don't.
I know he came. Let's do it this way, here, Pa Joy. Please hold your peace because I know he came so strong on you here. So let's change the narrative a little bit here. Let me go to his one of his buddy here because they are within the same corridor. Professor.
Yeah.
Is Wida on point here this evening with us?
Yeah, he's on point. He's on point. He's providing alternative facts.
I have come to realize, somebody, when I visited Liberia, I went under the Sycamore tree. And I was talking to the boy, he said, this tree here, we signed a covenant. And a covenant is not so easy to break that down. Go ahead, Professor. Maybe the covenant is in place.
Mr. Weeder, look, and I thank you for being a staunch supporter of this government, for which I'm also. I will tell anybody there's no way that I can discredit the president. I think he's done a wonderful job. I know many people don't believe that. I get insulted for that, and I know that the same thing you're going to face. But look, I give you one thing. I shouldn't be saying this because I don't want people to get in trouble. There is a school that's supposed to have a graduation on Saturday. And the government banned, they said there should be no gathering of more than 20 persons. That school was given permission to have the graduation with a full hall.
In Liberia?
In Liberia.
I think I saw it last night. I said yesterday night.
Mm-hmm. They gave the school, they gave them, they went at you and they said, no, you can have your graduation. You can have as many people as you want. So look, this is what we are talking about. That's what we are talking about. Look, incompetence. It has nothing to do with the CDC. It has nothing to do with President Weah. It has to do with incompetence and lack of commitment to your own country, lack of patriotism. There's another girl who showed a picture. And I'm bringing these things here because the source of this Delta variant, people trace it to what? India. And I'm sure you've been in Liberia. And I'm sure you've seen how Indian nationals operate in our country. Okay? At the airport, Indians, Chinese, and all these people operate. They barely respect any rules. And the reason for that is because of some of the people who are placed in positions of trust, compromising themselves. And when they compromise themselves, then what they do is that they risk the life of the entire country. And this thing is not a joke. It is serious. Now, when I talk about lockdown being a joke, it's not just for Liberia. Most African countries, lockdown is a joke. The people have to go to the market to buy their food on a daily basis. The market woman has to sell every day to be able to have money to feed her family. They're not going to sit down home. So you can close the nightclub, you can reduce the number of people going to churches, all those things. That's fine. But the key thing is that the market will still remain very crowded. You saw it during the first wave. And we talk about bringing the police and the soldiers to come in and intervene. I don't think they have the training. I don't think they have the training to be able to put them into such a situation. The last time when the police was asked to man this thing, if I'm not mistaken, I know somebody was shot at least once.
Yeah. And you had a Boy Scout there who said they were acting on the order of the
my home area, Matari, Boy Scout, Black Road, Tar Road. There.
So with all those things, the best thing to do is to prevent these things from coming in. Look, we went to sleep. And let me be frank with you. It is not this government. I bet if it was the Ellen Johnson government, they wouldn't have gone to sleep. These are the things that we have to change about ourselves as a people, as a country, as a nation. We shouldn't learn to react. We should be proactive. Now we know issues about infectious disease is becoming more common. We need to build a robust system to preempt, and when it occurs, to nip it in the bud at the very inception. We need to develop that system. And so that's why replace the present team with highly competent people. We send to training, let them come back home and strengthen the system so that we will not just be sitting there in Monrovia. But you know what we'll be doing? We'll be on the phone with CDC in Atlanta, Georgia. We'll be on the phone with the World Health Organization. What are some of the emerging things happening? What are some of the disease outbreaks? Where is it happening? And then we start looking at a trajectory. Are we having
which directions things going to be moving and stuff like that?
That's right. And then we plan ourselves appropriately. So when people come from India, people come from Ghana or whatever place, we know how to, handle those things. That's what we need. We need a preventative approach and not a reactionary approach. Right now we are reacting. And that's what the health minister is confused. And I understand her. I feel for her. I really feel for her.
So
her hands are full.
Professor, I just want to say something quickly before you go to it. I just want to read a press conference here from the Liberia National Police. They say LMP shuts down COVID-19 violating businesses and warn other violators. The Liberia National Police has shut down several businesses caught in violation of the COVID-19 restriction announced by the Ministry of Health. The businesses shut down include Photo Bar, the restaurant, Propo 9, Executive Bar and Restaurant, Satok Maragati, James Provision Shop, Facebook Entertainment, True Color Bar and Restaurant,
I'm not interested
and Executive Facebook. So yes, what I'm just trying to say, I don't say these things out of support for anyone. But look, I must state the facts. I'm not going to say my opinion.
You can start your fight with
opinion completely different from facts. When I say businesses were shut down for violating the restriction put in place because they have more than 20% in their business, they were shut down. These are facts. This is coming from the Liberia National Police. So if you say the government is doing nothing and the people are doing nothing, it's nonsense. I mean, I differ with you, and that's why I'm going to be.
Let me tell you something.
So here is the deal. Now, Moses Carter's job you are doing here this evening. You are doing the work of Moses Carter.
No, I just read his statement. I'm not doing his job.
You want to do it on the word? Are you nonsense? The question was posed to me. Is the health minister doing so much? I said, that's complete nonsense she's doing. And I will repeat it.
That's your view, and you are entitled to it.
Hold on. You were talking, I gave you time to learn. I'm saying she's not competent, she's not capable. So it's complete nonsense. That's why I said, and I will say it again. Okay?
Yeah,
the lady really, Professor, I was there. You really that list, and they gave people clearance to go have a graduation.
Can you verify that? Can you verify that when they are shutting businesses down, and then you think they gave permission? Maybe the people violated. No, you cannot say they gave them permission. How would they give exclusive permission to some and then close some?
Yeah, Professor, I was there.
People might have violated. Even these people that are shut down, they violated. That's why they were shut down. So you can say they exclusively gave them permission to go and do it when they are shutting other people down for violating.
So I don't think that is reality. On what basis they will carry on down? They are trying to cut down all of that, and they are going ahead. Don't you think they have the permission?
Why do you think they shut down these businesses? Because there were rules put in place that you should not do this, and they did it.
Now that rule you said.
What business did they have to open their shop to more than 20 people when they knew that there were rules in place that they shouldn't do it? They did it. That's why they were shut down. So if a school or stages of graduation, you cannot say without any documentation that exclusively they were given permission to do it because they did it. So if Mr. Zauro can produce documentation that these people were giving right to do it, I will frown on that. I don't go for that. It has to be done. Everyone has to be under the rule. If you're gonna allow more than 2,000 people to go in the hall and then stop 20 people from going in the shop and close the shop down, and then you allow graduation, for me it's focus.
Let me ask you this. Are you saying that ceremony was not noticed? Are you saying authority did not notice that ceremony?
Okay. Let me answer your question with another question. These people that were shut down, you think the government did not know?
That's not what I'm asking. They were shut down because there was some sort of violation. So I'm asking you, graduation events is not a secret event. I'm asking you, the authority didn't notice any such of a sort of crowded place? The authority didn't notice anything of that, or nobody reported that?
Well, I cannot say that the government did not notice that. But what I'm going to say is that when rules are made,
then where were the police?
Let me finish with your answer. Rules are made to be broken. People break rules, and there are consequences of breaking the rules. So if a graduation was staged without following the rules that were put in place by the health ministry. I think it's a problem, and I think that problem has to be addressed by the authorities that are in place. We cannot say because the shop was open, so that means the government gave them permission to open the shop.
No,
People are
no,
violators.
Wida,
That graduation might have been a violation of the protocol.
Okay.
All
right.
Listen, Professor Zawo said clearance was given to a school.
Where's the clearance?
Hold on now.
No, where is the clearance? When we debate these things, we should have evidence. Where's the clearance?
We don't
Who
have
gave the clearance?
I will share the evidence with you in due course.
Okay.
Thank you. I will appreciate that because I want to go and blast them. I want to go and blast them. No, I will blast. Because you cannot choose who you want to abide by the rules. You cannot do that.
Let's do it one at a time.
But we don't want to get a chance to talk.
No, we don't. No, that's not true. We all are. The conversation is kind of intense, and so we all are.
Professor Zara, if you're speaking and I say one or two when you're speaking, I should stop.
But all of us been doing the same thing.
Okay, I mute myself. Go ahead. I will listen to you.
You have to mute yourself, but I just want to make this clear.
We've been all interrupted.
You can go to blast who you want to blast. When people speak, listen. When I made mention, I said, Professor Zawo said they gave school a clearance. It's not Imajor who said they gave school a clearance. I quoted someone who is on this platform. The next thing he said, you want evidence. And he said, I will provide you the information. What I'm seeing here, closing shop, I'm okay. But then, when you close a shop and go and get a whole school a clearance, then I wonder, what are the laws you are enforcing? That is the issue I'm raising. And we have to look at it from that perspective. You may disagree, fine. You can name your two shops to talking, but I know there are other big businesses in Monrovia. The health minister of the police director will not close. I can tell you that for sure. Because some of us know how Liberia operates. When you know people, you get away with so many things. The health minister, I'm continuing to say this, like it or not, this woman is not moving the country health system forward. She has been an embarrassment to the country. Nightclub, you said 200 people. When people drink liquor in nightclub, what happened there? You think they obey any rules? What Professor Zawo said, let me ask something. The marketeers, if the government or the health minister wanted to work on something, she could alternate the days and say 3 days, let the other group sell this side, the next day the other people come and sell. Something like that. If it's so serious, you have to come up with avenue ways that people can do things that it will not affect people badly. You have to come up with strategies and plan. But real life market, professors, I don't know one line you're in, like real life market. People rub against one another. 3 feet cannot hold in real life market. What is that market? 3 feet cannot hold. So that's why when you sit down, when you talk about protocol, the plan debriefing, all that time, 12 months, what can the health minister tell you that during that 12 months, what experience, the first and second way, these are the measures they put in place. Can she explain to you, or has she come up to explain to the Liberian people? And now when people are saying that, you say,
the NFIL director was dismissed. We yet to know, apparently alleged corruption. We yet to know the end
the
of
president offered the prosecution.
And all of that. What are that? And that's, I think Professor Zawo is just strictly on top of the people. It was so poorly mismanaged. And I don't understand why people try to defend this thing to the core. It was poorly mismanaged. People were misplaced. You have the chief of protocol, people who they're supposed to bring report to, right? And they were in charge. So where does the report go? So how can you hold these people accountable? For God, it's not any personal thing. The protocol to the president. What business does she have to be in this sort of stuff here? Focus with the president. And that's why I think Professor Zawo said, I think this group here, they are disappointed, or I think maybe they can be more effective in other places, but this one here, they really kick the can down the road, and the president needs to act. Okay, Professor, you want to say something before our last minute?
Yeah, because you see, Mr. Weeder, I keep stressing here the need to be proactive. Look, you see, even when it comes to the marketers, how engaging is the government and how engaging is the Ministry of Health and the Ministry of Internal Affairs with the marketers? Look, I think I heard you talk about engineering. In engineering, I took a course in engineering. We call it industrial sociology. And one of the examples I still vividly remember is an example of people going to a village and digging a well in the village, right? Hand pump. Erected a hand pump in the village. And so you would think that everybody would stop going to the river where they would wash their clothes, they would defecate in, even wash their body in, and then immediately move to the hand pump. That was what I expected. What transpired was that the people did that. The hand pump king was a new thing. They transitioned from the hand pump, they transitioned from the rivers to the hand pump, but then they used it for a very short period of time and they returned to the river. And in that investigation, what was happening was that the river was just not a source for water. It was a source of the village gossip, that where people gathered to exchange ideas, exchange thoughts. And so it was a center of activity. It was an activity center. Now, we understand the danger in people using that same water for drinking, for defecating, for watching and doing everything, bathing and everything. But in order to get them to be able to use the hand pump, it was something that was supposed to be done initially. We should have generated a buy-in of the people. That was not done. In fighting situations like this, the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the health management team, the Ministry of Health must be able to engage things like the people like the marketers or all those kind of centers long before these things happen. Build a relationship. That's right. Build a relationship before these things happen. So when it occurs, you can easily go there and convince them to do some of the things that Mr. George just suggested. Selling based on days. All right? And all of those things. Now, in the absence of those things, issuing an edit that, look, people should do this, people should do that. On the eve of it, doesn't work. And that's what
you want it to be automatic. It's not. Well, this is what we are not. We don't prevent. We always like to manage crisis. That's
what I'm stressing here. That's what I'm stressing here. It's about planning for these things. You live as if it's going to happen, so you prepare for it. So when it occurs, you already got a system to fight against it. Now, with what I see the health team doing from the press conferences, now this one don't have the ability to think in that kind of
way. They're not even. That was no good coordination. No coordination.
No. They don't even observe, even for them themselves. They don't even observe the protocol. You have one person with face masks on. You get them passing the same microphone from one person to another person. Barely, some of them forget to, put sanitizer and stuff like that. So it is a very bad optics. It's bad spectacle. They're not even modeling what they want the people to do, and that's what makes them incompetent. That's part of the reason why they're incompetent. Look, we can call it as it is. These people need to step aside and give the president a chance to save his people. I mean,
he's a president. Okay, let me play this little short video here, and we're gonna get our last talking point in the next 15 minutes. Hopefully, we're gonna be out of here. But let's. This is a video that we obtained, I believe, based on our first conversation with the new things put in power. Okay, let me just go to this caller here quickly before we can go there. Okay, Pakwamint, good evening.
Yes, sir. How you doing, my friend?
Good to have you here. How your day going?
Well, my day is comme ci, comme ça.
Comme ci, comme ça. All right, so it's balanced. So that's a good thing about it. Nothing is being disadvantaged. All right, look, we having this conversation here, all in the interest of the country, and I specifically wanted to know, the health minister said it's not yet time. How can we talk to our government? What's the recommendation?
Well, let me say this: if Professor Zalu run for president in Liberia, I will vote for him. He's needed in the country. Have developed some admirations for him for the past couple of months.
Support George Widow is running for the Senate of Moserado County.
All right, and enjoying the composition. There's a typical Liberian composition. There's a professional composition. So everything is going together tonight.
Right. Thank you.
But what I would tell you is this, and I said it before. You're talking about engineering. I don't know what part of the engineering, whether it was a civil or mechanical or electrical engineering, but specifically, I'm going to talk about mechanical engineering. I don't care how sophisticated is a vehicle. But if the engine is not good, the vehicle is not going to move. Every part of the vehicle work to support the engine. So if the engine is not in a good conditions, I don't care how many good parts that vehicle has, the vehicle will not be functioning. So the same thing applies to the government. I don't care how many skillful departments you have, but if the head of the government is not working, it's not efficient, it's not productive, all other part of the government will go into coma. This is what happened in Liberia. So Liberia engaged in gumbo diplomacies with India. India, there could have been, I don't know how to call it, but a lot of countries did it. England did it, United States did it. They start traveling, or they start traveling from India to their countries. Liberia could have do the same thing, because India is about 1.2 billion people. Okay, if 500 or 400 million is affected, that is enough to affect the whole world. Especially, we have sizable Indian populations in Liberia. So, like Professor said, we should not be reacting; we should be proactive. So, Liberian government did not take the step that they're supposed to take earlier on, and now they are late because this is an airborne disease.
Right.
It's already in Liberia. So what I would tell you, Liberian government have not done any good job about these things here. This is not about politics. People talk about the first wave. The first wave did not occur in Africa. The reason why the Western world stopped traveling to Africa. The only tourist destinations in Africa was affected: South Africa, Egypt, and Nigeria. The rest of the country was not a tourist destination, including Liberia. This is why we didn't see the first wave. But the second wave that affected countries that had connections with Liberia, India, nothing was done about it. India was traveling freely. So this is a result now we are facing in Liberia. So that's a poor management and gumbo diplomacy that Liberian government engaged with Indian government that refused to stop the Indian national coming to Liberia. So this is what I have to say.
So do you agree, before we let you go, the professor also was very vehement in his talking point here tonight that, hey, look, the health authority or the health management thing, it is time on to restructure and bring in new faces. Do you agree with me?
Every part of this government need to be restructured to engage in human capacity building, because the country is in the limbo. The destitutions in Liberia is at a very rampant level. All right, coincide with this rampant disease. So every part of the government need to be restructured and to see what, it's so sad. It's so sad, believe me. Liberia is a very old country compared to Ghana, compared to Tunisia, compared to Morocco, compared to many other countries. Namibia, Mozambique, Uganda. Okay? And have direct connections with America. But there's nothing in Liberia that resembles anything in America.
Wow.
So it is time not only to restructure our government, but to engage in human capacity building. Because somebody said in the platform tonight that the police was not trained to what they call. That's true. That's true. Even if you bring the police again, because they don't have the requisite training, they are not trained, they will become a problem.
Inflaming the situation. That's why we saw the Boy Scout came in and they said they were operating under the banner of the AFL. I don't know who the heck told them that. They're having rotten, beating on people. Nobody.
This is what they call the ability to maintain security become a liability on their very self.
Oh my goodness.
So that create another problem.
Okay. Wow. All right. Mr. Kwame, thank you so much for that analysis. Thank you so much. All right. Okay. Look, guys, it is. We have a few minutes to go. Let me play the video here quickly. I believe that that's what the video we're talking about. It's very short. Let's see.
As the Honorable, as you can see, we've been here since the plane landed. The plane is over there, and everyone are here since this morning. These are the people. The whole place empty. We also do tests here. The whole place empty. We pay the money, and we sit in. They said they had car problem, and the car broke down. The tower here, they've coming in the morning, so there's everybody here. There goes the plane that we came with. And every 1 year, they collected the money, we sit in. All the COVID people collected the money, we sit in. Okay?
Okay. Wida,
Yes, sir.
you want to respond to that?
Oh, look, I don't know what kind of response you want for me to give.
Respond
In the video, the guy is saying that he paid his money to do the test. However, there's no one to do the test because apparently the vehicle that is bringing those who are supposed to do the test had a breakdown on the way. I don't know how do you want me to how do you want me to respond to that?
No, the reason
I don't know. You want to tell me that the car shouldn't have a problem, or they should have known that the car will have a problem, so a spare car is supposed to be behind the driving. I don't know whether that's the answer you want from me. But what I want to say is that things happen.
Let me see this.
And
Let me see
sometimes
the
that's
number
why the people from South Africa, that's why the people that speak Swahili, they say Akula Matata. Certain things happen and you cannot do anything about it. That was an incident that took place, car breakdown, and you want for us to be all over the place because car has broken down. I don't think that's the issue.
Hold on 1 second.
I think
I want to be coming to you. Let me just get this last caller here for the name.
Okay.
Final remarks. 215 number 8190. Are you there?
Yes, I'm right here. Good evening, Mr. So.
Good evening and welcome. What's your name?
Good evening. My name is Victor, calling you from Charlotte in North Carolina.
Okay, Vic. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, good evening, Professor Zhao, Pat George from Atlanta, and my own dear friend and brother, Mr. George Wida, a fanatic of the CDC. Thank you guys so much for the discussion tonight. It's very fascinating. It's very educative. I think I called you, the night or two before, and I said exactly what Professor Zhao is saying, but the only thing is that I said it in a different faction, that the president needs to call all hands on deck. And the reason why I said it the way I said it, because I didn't want it to sound political. Like, I don't want to say the professor is sounding political, but he's just straight to the point that, when people are incompetent, there's no way to polish it. They're incompetent, let's fire them. But I would maintain what I said the other night. I think it's about time, since this is a health crisis, that the president call all hands on deck, especially those in the diaspora. We are willing to help. We got technocrats here. Professor Zhao is a technocrat. From listening to him many times, I believe that he can offer good advices. He may not be a medical practitioner, but some of the things that he's saying and he have always said can help to guide the process. We can call on Councilor Tower Yenswa. It doesn't mean we're calling him back to Enfield. We just need his expertise. We can call on Dr. Christian. We can call on Dr. Jala, Dr. Kennedy. We got a lot, and on. We can just call people because we need to get this thing out of our country in order to save the lives of our people. This is nothing like Professor Zhao won't take somebody's job. No, he doesn't sound like he wants somebody's job. He sounds like he wants something done, and therefore those who are not doing it, let's push them to the side. Let's bring those who can have it done. Let's make sure that they do it. My brother George, it's not that you don't see that things need to be done, but you believe that you're going to speak the other way so that we can have a balance of the show. So I'm not going to hold you responsible. Okay. We all don't have to speak the same way. We can speak wherever we want to speak. Thank you guys so much for the night. Okay. And let's the discussion keep rolling. Okay.
Okay, we just monitoring some news just coming in here as we are in this conversations, and just based on what the professor said, incompetence has taken predominant role into our now news just coming in now is confirming up to date. We're in for three something. We have 3,900 confirmed cases as we speak. Latest news just coming in according to what the New Dawn newspaper now is reporting. Active confirmed cases 1,458, 127 deaths, total recovery 2,315, and from what I see here, every little city it's kind of it's been touched. 100 new cases confirmed, 4 new deaths as we speak, and 41 new to recoveries reported as of 10 p.m. according to what we are getting from local town here. This speaks to the volume. And in addition to that, news just also reporting the Liberian Women Humanitarian Network now is calling for the closures of schools in Liberia. Professor, you are teacher here. This is what is coming from a woman group now, calling on the government or calling on the Ministry of Education, even though on our script here, the Minister of Health is saying it is not yet time, but a woman group now is coming or calling for closures of schools in the country. How serious? How far are we going with this?
You know, I wouldn't want to. They're on the ground, so they have more information than I have. But like I said, we do every morning at about 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I do a call with my school. Right now, we are in the process of closing down our nursery and K1 and K2 classes. We just can't get the kids to observe the protocol. So we are thinking about closing them. Already, schools in Liberia, by the way. Some schools in Liberia has already transitioned, especially for those lower levels, to once a week. I know about a couple of schools have already transitioned. The students come to school only on Wednesday now at the lower level. Now, I don't think, based on what I have right now, I don't think we want to shut down schools. What we want to begin to find some innovative ways to keep our children learning. So I think
what's the way?
That's what I'm going to give you an idea. So we can have students come to school, maybe between certain grade levels reporting on certain days and other grade level reporting on other days, so they have more spacing in the building.
The school have the capacity to put all the necessary measures in place, for example, testing, looking at people's temperature and all of that. Would they have the capacity to do that?
Yeah, I know for sure. I know that most schools that were registered by the Ministry of Education, most schools especially, they receive a kit, a COVID-19 kit to test temperature, to check to access students. So they got those things. But I don't, another thing we have to take into consideration is this, the resiliency of children. Children would not, most likely, they don't get sick and die from this thing. Our fear, like I told my principals today in Liberia, my fear is for these kids to go home and give it to grandparents, and their grandparents get sick, and then they could possibly die. That's
that's the most vulnerable group.
But another thing you have to take into consideration, I have to be very honest with you, is economics, and that's what is going to make it hard for schools to close. Just right now, if you tell the teachers you want to close today.
So, guys, as we're about to go, it's like a bridge over troubled water. That's the situation we could find out. I wonder somebody has placed a call to the president in France attending this forum. I wanted the health minister. They are taking a second thought to revision. What is the strategy next? How our lawmakers, people, going to get this whole thing moving here? Widow, what's your final argument?
Oh, look, thank you, Mr. So. And my final argument is that we all want the best for Liberia. Maybe some people will say because I'm younger, so maybe I'm doing this for political advancement. I don't think so.
But if you're qualified, I don't even believe in
and the thing is that,
white people should be proud.
Yeah. No, it's just the thing is that people who know me wouldn't think so, because the first thing, I left Liberia as a UN staff and I came abroad to work. That means I have a little bit of expertise. Let's just say it that way. So if I work for Liberia, it's okay. But here's what I want to say: we should not, due to disagreement or because things are going bad to think that the person that is there, they are incompetent without any facts.
So hold
For the
on.
problem, the
Yeah,
video I just saw,
all of the
yeah,
folks
the
in
video
government,
I
do you
just
think
saw, the video
yeah.
I just saw, speaks to such argument. For instance, when I was leaving San Francisco a few years ago, we got stuck in of aircraft on a tarmac for 3 hours because there was a problem with the engine. I could have gone around showing all in the plane and say, look, we are here, we pay our money to go to Australia from America, but they said the plane get problems, so they ain't able to carry us. And we have done all that. But I knew as a logical person, these things happen. And when they happen, they need remedy. If the remedy does not come, then that's an issue. But once these things happen, we should not make it an issue. But the problem is that I would not sit here and want to blame the health minister to say
Okay.
she's incompetent and she needs to be fired. I think we have to learn from what has happened and move this country forward together.
All right.
So I know maybe it could be my last name, but I just wanted to quickly comment on something he said, which is important to me, and I've been preaching about it. One of the concerns I have with RIA, being a Magibian, because I even though my father comes from Nima, my mom is from Grand Crew, but I feel it with Magibi County. I've always had serious problem with the number of people you take from Monrovia to work at RIA. It's not helping for economy. And that's this today.
Yeah, this video here probably when there was when these folks, let's assume those people when they were within the vicinity of that place, they could have been there. It's just inexcusable. People pay their money and they say car breakdown. Look, come on, that's the same incompetence and
maybe you don't have the skill set in Magibi. That's something else because everyone is studying journalism and studying political science in Liberia.
So you need them to move there. So if you want to work at RIA, you must be local. So you will move.
No, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Economically, it's not viable. No.
Look, you can't.
Yeah.
Even in the United States, they do that. For example, if you want to work for the district,
you can prioritize people who live there, but you cannot say if you want to work there, you must go live there. No, you can't do that.
It's done here in the United States. Ask my friend.
I've never seen it anywhere I've worked. Anyway, but anyway, you're right. These things, different measures call for different strategies.
George, let's take 2 minutes. Let's see the clash of the Titans from under the Sakomo tree right here on LPR. Okay, George, I think we go ahead and make a final closing.
Let me say this. We all hope and wish the best for Liberia.
Yeah.
So when someone come here with speaking with passion, it's not that we don't like certain individuals. So many people will talk about, I don't know none of these people. I know many of them before. But if you are given a piece of job to do, if you cannot perform, we should not come to sugarcoat it. There are others who are there who will do better. So then step aside. It's just simple. Just at this time here, you can't be in the midst of this thing, you're confused. Then I mean you can't do the job. Just at this time, it needs steady hand to give the president the necessary advice to move forward. But when you confuse them, what you will tell the head of state or the president, and that's why you see people running all around in Monrovia who are in charge of this thing like chicken hair cutter. Wow. And the issue of that transportation, let me tell you, I have work professors, I would say. In America, there are certain jobs that ask you, this is where the job is. You have a reliable transportation, or are you willing to migrate? They do those things. But practically everybody that works at the airport, almost all essential staff live in Monrovia. Almost all essential staff live in Monrovia.
When they don't have transportation when car breakdown, it means
I'm coming. I'll get there anytime I want to.
How you expect me to get there? The car, bringing the car right here in doors on no tire. The man go, you gotta go work.
These are some of the things we're talking about. The overcrowding of the city. We need not to change the way we're doing things in Liberia. We can't continue to do the same thing and get the same result and expect changes of the growth. No way, it cannot happen.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, is great. I was part of the forum today. We even able to do that relay. Hopefully, I have the time to do that. The forum, anybody can register. You can be anywhere. You register.
Yeah, register.
Which forum? Yeah.
They are
The
generational equality forum ongoing.
Oh, yes, in Paris.
Yes. So I'm hoping because let me just show you something here. The lineup. I'm hoping that the president, because I've gone through the program here, it ends on the 2nd of July. It outlines 6 major points, bullet points. People are going to be speaking. Team 4, everyone for equal, and there was great, powerful speakers. Number 5, drive for change. You see, these are the speakers and everything. And number 6, item, a feminist response. And then you're going to see here, you're going to end here at the 7th generations equality forum, global conversations and regional dynamics. All of that. That's what going to it's going to be ending on the 2nd. I hope the president of the Republic of Liberia will use that time. I perused through the program. I didn't see anything because they have everything.
No, he speaks tomorrow. Tomorrow he'll be speaking.
Okay, probably, yeah. So, but we're going to see what happens. But what I'm interested in, the Ford Foundation, man, they released a Powerball today for over $4 billion. I think the president and his team should tap into it. If I were him, I would be speaking. I would try to place a call with Derek, the president of the foundation. Hey, COVID is raging here. We need help. And I hope that we have that capacity to cut that sort of conversation going. And we are anxious to see what will be.
They won't give money with William and Jala as the president.
What?
They won't give money with William and Jala as the president in the front. I mean, let's see. Yeah,
she there. I mean, but Professor, I can remember when we talk about the election commissioners.
Yeah.
So it's a well, gentlemen, let us not relegate this whole interview again until we are concluded. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much. Right here, tell us what do you think if the president? I didn't see that. Maybe they are dignitaries, so they preserve that because the adjutant president spoke today. So I think they have different. I think only the main character they put on the program.
That's what the English there is notable amongst them. Those who are going to speak notable amongst them. That's what it lists to people. Okay, but that does not mean only the listed people are going to speak.
Right. And I want the president to speak at that forum. It's very important. Hopefully. There are a lot of philanthropic group. Tell us second here. What do you think the president going to be saying here, Professor, if he takes the podium tomorrow?
Why did Mr. George to do that?
No, I'm thinking
let Mr. George do that.
Why you want to hear from the
But George just said that nonsense he would say.
No. Okay, no. Why you want to hear? The numbers coming from like sergeants. Here before we go. What do you anticipate? What do you think the president?
I just trying to get under your skin, Papi.
I will tell you how.
Gentlemen, let's have this here. Let's folks are mattering. Quickly here, 30 seconds. What you want to hear from your president?
What is the forum? Is generational what? What is it again? Generational what?
Generational
let me put it back. Yes, here. Generational
Equality Forum.
Yeah. I think I don't know whether this thing is I don't know, but I will hear the president connect the plight of women, especially in times of pandemic like this, and how to work and come together to be able to address it, to take proactive actions that will not see women, because women are one of the most vulnerable groups in times like these. To see how we can reduce the impact of women and girls in Liberia and all across the world. That's one of the things I expect to see. Once we can address those things, the rest of those things will add into it. So give me a call immediately after. I want to also discuss about something different. I mean, something related to our show. I mean, we all could be on the call. I don't. If it was possible, in fact, that
we can do that. We have a group chat. Probably we need to be doing that. Okay, that sounds good. We'll see how it looks like. I don't think we're not going to bear now. Okay, Pa Joyce, what do you want to hear from your president tomorrow?
Look, the women in Africa are one of the most challenged groups in Africa, and especially Liberia is no exception. And you have more women in businesses than men in Liberia and around the world. But funding for these people very difficult and limited. That one of the person should stress how again.
One bank executive spoke today said that if they can't empower women, they're not going to give them down.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I see the person should speak up. And also, the abuse of women around the world and in Africa, Liberia is no exception. Part of that, the president should, I think, put more emphasis on the way women are treated in our society, based on culture and other aspects of our way of life. I think the president should throw light on some of those issues.
All right, folks. Again, we are already out of time. Okay, we don't put a cap on the head. 30 seconds quickly. What you are?
Look, I think the president, first of all, he's going to try to put on display his work done as he's called the female in chief. I think we know that his cabinet is composed of 47% women. I think it's a good thing, and I think what he's going to be portraying to other dignitaries there is that it can happen. He's done it in his country, and that can happen. And he will also maybe use that opportunity to ask for more help, in putting girls into school, because you cannot say we should be equal and then I'm educated than you. So I think those are the things the president is going to be talking. More girls should be in school than they are selling in the markets, and that can only be done with economic empowerment. I think that's what the president is going to be talking about tomorrow.
All right, gentlemen, the best of political and contributors right here on the Liberia Public Radio. Professor Alcese Labozalo, our senior analyst, George Wider, contributor, analyst, Amos George, contributor, analyst based in Atlanta, Georgia. You see how peaceful this conversation? The Liberal is not here tonight.
No. Don't go there.
Seriously?
Don't go there with my man, please. Don't go there with my man.
This conversation, it was peaceful, with no sad distraction because the Liberal is not here tonight. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for your ultimate sacrifice for the country, for the good of our land, and to our valuable follower listeners. The civility maintained on this network is what paramount. Our hopes and prayers, we have to keep our country in prayer. We have to do everything possible we can. And I said this, if you can speak the Gisi, you can speak the Mano, you can speak the Crown, please do a video, please do an audio, send it to us. We want to use it as to add up to what the ministry is doing. We have to also enhance the work of the government to get this out here. And we in the diaspora, we get a powerful voice, because when we talk to our people, they can listen. But we want to do it proportionally, not just the English. There's some old folks there, everybody that might. And she can't even she on Facebook, she sent me request. I said, well, one day I just pass by. But if people can do recordings in their local dialects, please send that to us. We want to play that. We want this message to resonate. This virus does not have no political boundaries, no respect. You saw what happened to Donald Trump. He ran from Water Reed and threw his mask down. So that to tell you, no one is safe. This new report just came out here is alarming. It's no joke. This is serious, and I hope the health authority will do something much more. They gotta get out there to the international, come out and ask for help. We can't handle this thing here. We do not just have the capacity. No way to boil it around it. Guys, I want to thank you so much and have a pleasant evening. And by God's willing, same time, same station. So we're going to be back here with more conversation. And to our valuable listeners and followers right here on the Liberia Public Radio, thank you. Don't forget, follow us, not just on it followed, click like, and not just on it like, subscribe. And go to the options, the bell options, where the one that says all notifications. That way you can be able to get on the like. And a female who wants to be a contributor, anybody who wants to be a contributor here, let us know. We don't sanction voices. Just have a little thick skin so that people say things it will not get on your skin and flip up. I want to thank you so much for being part of today's program. Have a pleasant evening. Please let us keep our country in prayer. This is serious. It is deadly. The latest report just coming is going over the roof, and there's no indication that it's going to stop. It's going to get ugly before it gets worse. But in the meantime, we have to be the motivating factors to encourage our people to wear their mask, to keep the social distancing, to do everything possibly they can to deploy common sense in making sure, because what happens, the life you save could be your own or that of a friend. You don't want to get this thing in your household, because once they enter the household, the possibility of everybody being a victim is most likely. Until then, I'm Alfonso Z, so have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Love is all we need to make it stick. This is the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart and let the unity begin. Love is all we need to make it stand. I just wanna thank you. I just wanna thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I just wanna thank you. I just wanna thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wholeheartedly welcome you on the official Facebook outlet of the Liberia Public Radio and Lpr-Tv in the USA and Liberia. Our deepest appreciation to the hard-working team in the USA and Liberia for keeping the wheel of the industry moving forward. And of course, to our many followers and viewers, we say thank you for believing in us. You can also contact us at 682-433-8802. Email address lprmorovia2018@gmail.com and Liberia Public Radio 2012@gmail.com. Thank you.